Hey everyone, it's Pops from Bourbon and Banter, and I hope you're enjoying National Bourbon Day. Now, some would argue it's not a real holiday, but for bourbon lovers around the world, it's truly a magical day. So I appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your day to check out our post and our video today. I hope you've got a great glass of bourbon with you, and just have a great day. So today we're going to talk about one of my favorite bourbons out there. That'd be Four Roses Bourbon. As you can see, I've dressed for the occasion. You know, if you've been reading the blog for a while, it shouldn't come as a surprise that I'm a big fan of Four Roses and Jim Rutledge and what he and the folks are doing down there. And I really enjoy what they're doing. And what I wanted to talk about today was kind of a fun thing I got to participate in a couple weeks ago. And that was what we called a Four Roses tournament, or a tournament of roses, if you will. And it focuses around the idea that, you know, what really makes Four Roses really unique is the fact that they can have up to 10 different bourbons. They have 2 mash bills that they use, and they have 5 proprietary yeast strains. And when you combine those, it gives them 10 bourbon recipes that they can ultimately release and put into a bottle, which gives them a lot to work with. You know, Jim can take those and he can blend those and create some pretty cool products. But the reality is that you cannot easily get a bottle of each of the recipes and try them. So it's something that I've wanted to do for a while. You know, if you go into the store and you buy their single barrel, like this one, I actually bought this one at Four Roses, but it's their regular retail release single barrel. They are all the OBSV recipe. And it's very good stuff, but it never varies. It's always the same recipe, and it will vary from barrel to barrel, obviously, as a single barrel will, but it's pretty standard. If you buy Four Roses Yellow Label, that's a blend of up to 10 of the recipe. So he's going to pull the different ones together to create that flavor profile, and it could be all 10, could be fewer. If you look at Four Roses Small Batch, it's usually a blend of up to 4. So once again, you're not getting all 10, and plus the fact that they're mixed together. So what do you do? If you really want to sit down and say, I want to sample all 10 together and find out which recipe I like the most. So what do? Well, what you have to do is you have to invest the time and the money and track down different single barrel bottlings. And what I mean by that is the different liquor stores and restaurants around the country will take part in Four Roses private barrel selection program, where they will take a trip down the Four Roses, or they will have Four Roses send them samples from up to 10 different barrels, and they will taste them and they will decide what one they like the best. And then it will be bottled for them. It will have a sticker put on the side of the bottle for their store, and then they'll sell it to the bourbon drinking consumer, you and me. And for example, this one right here, this is from Nassau Liquor. I did a review of this one about a week or 2 ago. Folks down there sent it to me, very tasty. This is an OESF recipe. And if you're playing along at home, you can get this. Four Roses has some great information on their site that talks about the recipes. But this one specifically is their E-mash bill, which is 20% rye, which is their lower rye formula. And then it uses the yeast code of F, which kind of gives it more of an herbal essence, as they describe it. Whereas this release over here, this one right here, this is actually from Yankee Spirits, and it's an OESK. Once again, lower rye, and the yeast code is the slight spicy one, which I like. I actually had a hand in selecting this one a couple years ago. I'm pretty proud of the one that we picked, and it's good drinking as well. This is, I think I'm on my 3rd bottle. It's almost gone. But anyway, so you can go around and you can obtain all these and bring them together. So it takes time, it takes some money to find them, either across the country, different liquor stores that sell online. Sometimes you can find them in the secondary market. I was fortunate enough that I have a good buddy of mine here in town who went ahead and did this. He really wanted to put together a 10 recipe tasting for a small group of bourbon lovers that we do a lot of things together. So he was kind enough to do that work. And a couple weeks ago, we got together at his house, and he had actually pulled together all 10 recipes. Imagine, if you will, you walk in and he had a nice credenza, and on that he actually had all 10 bottles lined up. He had some roses, had this really cool looking bourbon flag, maybe you guys have seen around here before. And it was really kind of cool. And what we decided to do was to do a blind taste tournament in which we, you know, we're not all great designers under pressure, but we created a little bit of a tournament bracket, if you will, and decided how many would face off to each other. So in this case, the first part of the bracket started with 3 different ones. So one individual, the gentleman holding the party, labeled each bottle with a letter, and then he and his wife then would pour us the samples blind. And then out of the 3 or the 2, depending on where we're at in the bracket, he would, you know, pour them for us, and we would decide which one would win out of those comparisons and moving forward. So there's a lot of ways you can do that tasting tournament, obviously, but this is what really worked for us. It was fairly simple. One thing I have to say is when you do something like this, plan to have food. We had some barbecue and smoked meats. It was fantastic. But it's going to be an investment of time and effort. It's a lot of fun. So we went through multiple rounds. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds or so until we got to the final tasting. And the final 2 going in there was an OBSK and then an OBSO. And so the one thing you'll notice is they are the B mash bill. So it's the slightly higher rye. The actual mash bill is 60% corn, 35% rye, and the remaining 5% is malted barley. So both of the final recipes had that higher rye mash bill. So it should tell you something a little bit about the folks tasting it. And when it was all said and done, I went with the OBSK, which was the slight spiciness. So you took the rye, which basically has some spicy, added a little bit more to that, and I just fell in love with it. In fact, it was one of the first ones that I tried. Actually, it was in my second round, and immediately fell in love with it. Thought it was fantastic, and the fact that everybody else kind of narrowed these down to the final as well was really kind of cool. I can tell you that winner, that OBSK, came from Flask Fine Wine and Spirits in California. So kudos to you guys for picking what really was a great bottle. I think they still have some left on the shelf for about $70, so you can hunt that down if you want to. But it really was cool to try and taste how each one was different from another. And you know, we had that dinner with Jim Rutledge a week or two before, and told him about the idea. And you know, his recommendation was to remember that just because in this case OBSK was the winner for me, if I were to do this again with 10 different bottles of the same recipes, but from different barrels, it could turn out different. And I think that's once again really what makes Four Roses so cool, is there's so much variety and there's so many things that change to chase and taste as you go. So I highly encourage you guys to, if you can, to round up as many different recipes as you can. You don't have to have all 10. If you've got a couple buddies that have 3 or 4, get together and taste them. Do them blind, see which one you like, and kind of start narrowing down what it is about those recipes that you like. It can make for a really fun day. We also had, you know, the bonus round that after that, and after we had some dinner, everyone brought some what we call, we refer to as unicorn bottles, which are older or rarer bottles of bourbon. So we had actually a second half where we partake in those as well. Not blind, but got to enjoy them as well. And as I've said from the beginning when I created Bourbon and Banter, bourbon really is best shared with friends and others, and this was just another prime example of that. But as great as that was, I think one of the coolest thing is when you have all 10 recipes, you know, you're not drinking every little bit of the glass, right? You're taking a taste, you're writing down notes, you're nosing it, but at some point you can't consume everything because you're going to lose your taste. So what we did was everyone was given a mason jar, or a mini mason jar, if you will, and we all took our own stuff and did a combined dump. So this is my dump jar from that tasting. So this is a Pops Special Blend, Four Roses, all 10 recipes, single barrels, that is available nowhere else except in the jars that the folks who attended the tasting with me were, and then clearly they're going to have different ratios. So because each one of us dumped a little bit out. So this has been percolating for a couple of weeks, and you know, it's got a pretty intense nose on it, as you can imagine. Oh, I'm sorry, one thing I forgot, that Flask Wine and Spirit bottle was 9 years, 9 months, and was just under 110 proof at 109.8, I believe. So some good, strong stuff. And let's go ahead and dive in and see what a blend of all 10 recipes can taste like. Good rich nose, caramel, vanilla. Get some of that sort of that varnish resiny smell that I love so much, with a nice solid undertone of oak. Man, that drink's a lot smoother than it smells. You know, the alcohol is on the nose, but it's got some great legs. Nice caramel, toasted oak. Got that rye spice in that a little bit as well, coming in from the rye recipe, high rye recipes as well. You know, I wouldn't go out and buy all 10 bottles just to mix them into one giant vat, but this is a very nice side effect from doing that. And once again, I think that's one of the cool things, just getting together with people, enjoying bourbon, little side experiments like that. There's really no wrong way to do it. So celebrate National Bourbon Day. Have a great day. If you haven't got some friends coming over yet, give them a call. Enjoy, share your collection. It's all good, people. So thanks so much for stopping by, celebrating today with us, and I hope this has inspired you to go out and do something fun with bourbon and some of your friends. Cheers.